Hi people, welcome to a special video where I'll be sharing the process of creating a work that's a part of a fantastic project across many different creatives in here on YouTube. As I start sketching out this work here now, I'll just talk over the video about this great project. So I received a message a while ago, an invitation, and I must say one of the best invitations I have received really. Annie Claxton, a YouTuber in here, has, together with Johnny from Just Johnny Creations, come up with the idea of getting together with a bunch of other YouTubers and do a work in 2D or 3D inspired by a prompt. And I thought right away, what a brilliant idea, so of course I said yes. And what is the prompt? Annie wrote that there are not many rules, only create a piece of work inspired by a fairy tale. This can be 2D, 3D or digital. Use whatever format you like. I quickly decided to go with drawing, and maybe I'll also add some paint later on in this process. I don't know yet actually. So let's just talk quickly about the other creators, the good people who was also invited. Of course we have Annie Claxton, since you know she's one of the initiators. I've been following her for a while and she does all kinds of things in here. We have Beck, who has a channel called Cutest Voodoo. We have Emily, who is called Emily Arts in here. Gabby, with a name called Gabby Chick Dolls. Johnny from Just Johnny Creations, who actually teamed up with Annie in terms of creating this idea of doing a collab. So a shout out to Johnny also. And then we have Zoe called Zoe Artist in here. In the description below of this video, you will find links to all the artists that I've just named. And of course you want to go there and see what they came up with. They are uploading their take on this prompt at exactly the same time as now. So they have also made their interpretation of the fairy tale story and made a little video about it. So I can't wait to go and see what they have been making. So I think that definitely you should go and check out their channel. And the cool thing about this project is that we have so many different styles, and I can't wait to see what the what fairy tale the other has been inspired of, and just as much what kind of medium do they choose to work with. I could imagine that we could see maybe a doll coming out of this project. And this is creating art dolls, for instance. This is something that that is a thing that I've never heard of before I got to know Annie Claxton's work and universe, and also Just Johnny Creations, for instance. So this will all be very, very magical, very, very fairy tale-ish, I'm sure. Let's go a bit into and see what I've been sketching here. I don't think 10 minutes went by before I thought of exactly this fairy tale to choose. It just came to me. After doing some research later in the process, I found out that it's a Grimm fairy tale, but it's not the original that I have been inspired of, but an adaptation, an animated film which I saw as a child. This film is called Thumbelina. It's a Don Bluth production, and I recall the quite scary scene where the frogs have captured Thumbelina. Recall is maybe a bit too much to say because it's very foggy in my memories, but the thing that I really wanted to achieve with my drawing was the slightly scary scene of not being in control in the way that she's captured by some frogs, not knowing what the frogs' intentions are, and I wanted to make the scene even more fragile by making the girl sleeping and being isolated on the water. In the beginning I sketched out some frogs, as you can see here, and I had the idea of having them walking with her at first. But then I recalled that there was something with water in the scene in the animated film, and I thought I could have some fun with the characters, paddling and so on. I love to draw animals, and especially to have them do human-like stuff, so it was a joy to draw them. I had some trouble with drawing especially the hands along the way. For instance, we have a hand folds around a stick, another is resting against the water lily, and there was something wrong with the hands, and then I turned to always faithful Google, and found out that frogs do not have these long fingers as their feet have. They're actually much more chubby and cute. Moving a bit further into the process, I can talk a bit about some of the choices I did along the way. It was important for me to have the 3 frogs have their own personality. So the guy in the bottom is the guy who maybe likes to relax a bit more. He's maybe more the experienced guy and perhaps more grumpy. The guy in the front, I wanted to seem a bit crazy, a bit unpredictable, kind of like a joker, and have him seen as the leader of the group, thus making the situation worse than because of the fact that he's like the leader. I tried to communicate this first of all by having him sitting and not paddling. He's also in the front, and then he has a bit more like fine garments on, this suit that fits together as a set. At first he had this straw hat on, and then I thought it was fun to think that he had maybe cut off parts of the hat and then made it into a cap. So in a way, I'm also kind of, yeah, I'm just these are sorts of things that I really think is fun as I go along, and I make them up as I go along. The frog in the top is more a sort of a young guy, and I don't know, but I have the feeling that he could be sort of the character who might help Thumbelina escape. He's more of a good frog. Thumbelina, the character who the whole thing is about. I don't know why I wanted to have her sleeping. Maybe it was because I didn't know what kind of expression she should have. So making her sleep was a kind of the easy choice. But the thing that was really important to me was to have her surrounded by the frogs at all sides, making the viewer feeling that she's almost encapsulated by the frogs. This caused me some trouble in terms of the composition. She was a bit too close to the frogs, and all these overlapping shapes made it hard for the eye to distinguish between her and the frogs. So what I did was to do a bit of scissoring. So I moved the front frog a bit down, and then I could have her in a position in the right part of the water lily, so you could see the whole figure of her. I think that helped the composition a lot. After doing the sketch, I then traced the drawing using my window to make the line work nice and crisp. I then scanned it, took it into Photoshop, tweaked the levels a bit to make the pencil stroke more dark. And then I could start the really fun process of coloring. This brush here is a digital watercolor brush, and I'm really impressed with how well it creates the feel of true watercolors. Plus it has the benefit that I can experiment without starting all over, play around with colors, etc. This was the first coloring I did, and something just didn't feel right. So the yellow, for instance, for the frogs were off, I thought, and the water just seems too much like, water, 1-to-1. I needed something more magical, some colors that we don't necessarily connect with water and water lily. So what I did was, in the second version, I think things turned out more interesting by making the water lily, for instance, purple. In the end, I had to do a really hard choice. I would say kill a darling. In the drawing here, there's just too much going on. The dark purple, being the water, is the problem, I realized. It had to go. By removing that, we have a much more air around the story, around the characters, and this just created a much more strong drawing, really. This was my finished drawing and contribution to a fairy tale story. I'm very happy about the composition, and a small funny thing is that the poster that Annie Claxton made to this project, where we have this beautiful painting with some fairies, I did not see this painting before having finished this drawing, so it's quite fun that I chose to draw something that's taking place at a small creek with flowers and stuff like that. I suppose the woods, water, and flowers are some archetypes of fairy tales. So it will be really interesting to see what the other think of when they think of fairy tale. Thank you so much for watching along, and most importantly, thank you so much, Annie and Johnny, for creating this super fun collaboration and project. You guys are amazing. Till next time, have fun drawing.